Howdy y'all, Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is a very rainy day outside today, so I thought that I would film inside again. Welcome to winter in Texas. But what I wanted to talk about was what my 2024 garden goals are. Last year I didn't really have any goals other than growing stuff and attempting to be organized. So you know, somewhere in the middle of the year, things fell apart as far as like the rest of my life. So I kind of ignored the garden and didn't really achieve any of my goals. So new year, new me, right? No, not really a new me, but new year means new garden. And that means that I get to try again. And I'm going to set some clear goals for myself to try to make sure that I continue to strive for better in terms of out in the garden, and then, you know, preserving food, cooking the food that I grow, all of those things. So let's go ahead and talk about what those goals are. So the first goal that I have is to stay organized. Now, I'm really good at the initial getting organized stage, but somewhere in the middle, like if I get busy with anything else at all, my organizational skills go so I am really making that a goal this year for the garden, staying organized. That means I need to maintain that garden log that I made in Google Sheets, and I need to keep up with the tasks and seeding and all of those things that I have listed within the seedtime.us website. I also need to continue to maintain my seed inventory log. Whenever I run out of something, I need to remove it from the inventory. If I get something new, I need to add it to the inventory, file it away within my seed binders. And then probably the most important part of staying organized is putting my tools away. I am notorious for just laying down my pruning shears or like my hand trowel. I'll just lay them down somewhere, usually inside the house, and then I can't remember where I set them down. So I need to be diligent about putting everything in the place that it goes. What I actually have is a 5-gallon bucket with like a cushion for a lid. Lily, my daughter, had something similar for her Girl Scout camp, and we realized how handy it was. So now Logan has a bucket with a cushion seat that he's able to keep, you know, flashlights and Cub Scout things in, and whatever he wants to keep, really. And then I have one for gardening. So all of my bags of fertilizers, zip ties, pruning shears, any of my hand tools, all of those are in that bucket. And then I just carry it with me out to the garden. And then I also have a seat, so I don't have to like break my back trying to do any sort of maintenance. So part of staying organized is making sure that all those tools and fertilizers and things make it back into the bucket. Goal number 2. This one is probably like going to be my favorite goal out of the goals that I have set for myself. But goal number 2 is grow enough tomatoes to preserve. Now, last year I was on target to have a really epic tomato season. I had really healthy plants. They were producing really well. And then I had the rat problem that wiped out 90% of my harvest. So I wasn't able to preserve much. I did preserve some cherry tomatoes, which I still have some of, but I want to grow more tomatoes so that I can preserve them. This is a salsa eating house. We eat a ton of salsa on almost everything. So I want to be able to have some salsa preserved so I can just go in the pantry and grab a jar that I make instead of buying a $4 jar at the grocery store. I also would like to dehydrate more cherry tomatoes. They are a really great addition into like pasta sauces, oven roasted dishes. I mean, they have a ton of applications. So I want to be able to dehydrate more. Then I also want to be able to make canned diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, those type of tomato things because we do use a ton of diced tomatoes in the stuff that I cook. I'll be using diced tomatoes today in the black bean soup that I'm making. So if I could have these things made from the garden that I grew and I don't have to buy it, then it is easier on my pocketbook, healthier on our bodies, and probably tastes a little bit better too. Number 3, grow more okra. Now, I had a really great okra year last year. My okra plants were like 11 or 12 feet tall, massively productive. We were eating okra every day once it was like the heat of summer, and it was awesome. Well, I want to grow more. My husband loves okra, so he actually asked me to grow more. The way that I cook it 99% of the time is I just like thinly slice it and I throw it in a cast iron skillet with some sliced onion, and I just cook it down until it is like pretty browned, and it gets rid of like the sticky goopy part, because I don't really like that part. But whenever it starts to get a little bit crunchy, and then just season it with salt and pepper, it's amazing. And like I said, we ate that like every day in the heat of the summer. So more okra. I want to figure out a way to safely freeze it. We don't eat a lot of fried okra. I don't fry a lot of foods, and I don't eat gluten, so I can't use like store-bought breadings. So I'm not necessarily trying to freeze it for like fried okra, but for gumbo, and then the way that I like to cook it. And then there's like some okra curries that are really good. I want to be able to freeze the okra so that I can use it more than just in the summer. So I need to figure that out. That's part of goal number 3, growing more okra. Number 4, improve pepper production. 2 years ago, I grew all of my peppers in 5-gallon buckets and fabric grow bags. And the 5-gallon buckets, the peppers they were absolutely bonkers. We had so many peppers. This last year, I had sweet peppers in the raised beds, and those did really well. I was still harvesting bell peppers in November, but my green stalk was where I grew the hot peppers, and it's on the patio where it doesn't get any shade until like very, very late in the day. So I think that they just like overcooked, and I think I need to do some work to improve the soil a little bit. I planted them in like a mix of compost and potting soil, but I don't think that it was like quite loose and fluffy enough. So I need to do some amendments to the soil and then figure out a way to kind of give them a little bit of shade or something. But I am going to try again for the hot peppers in the green stalk before I just say, you know what, that's not for me. Because I think that if I could figure out shade and the healthy soil, I would have a really banger of a pepper year again. Another goal number 5, is more raised beds. Most of my garden has been in fabric grow bags or 5-gallon buckets for over the seasons. My tomato patch has been in grow bags for multiple years now. I had the first 2 raised beds starting with last year's garden, and then I want to add raised beds where the tomato patch is, and then there's going to be a space whenever we remove the little tool shed for like a shorter raised bed. I want to put the shorter one there in that space to grow like cucumbers and like vining things, and then the tomato patch I want to have 3 rows of raised beds. I want to get rid of the grow bags where I can. In between the 2 raised beds that I have like a quad planter that's a fabric. I think that one's going to stay there just because it did really well. I had Sartre Louise tomato. No, I had Thorburns terracotta tomatoes growing there, cherry tomatoes, sunflower. I mean, I've had a lot of stuff growing in there and it does really well. And I don't have anything that I can replace that with right now. So that one's going to stay. The ones in front of the greenhouse are probably going to stay for now. But wherever I can, I want to get rid of those fabric grow bags. They don't hold up well to me weed eating like the mad woman that I am. I just go in there and I just try to knock down all the grass, and I have put holes in almost all of the fabric grow bags. So in an effort to not wreck my stuff, I think I just need to upgrade to the metal raised beds. However, they are a little bit expensive. So the way that I'm paying for the raised beds, the first two that I originally had, those were Christmas gifts from my husband Jake. And then that's whenever I realized, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to be using. These are awesome. I love them. And then last July, Jake encouraged me to submit an article to Vigo Gardens, which is who those raised beds came from. They're a Houston-based company, made in America, super awesome. He sort of encouraged me to submit an article because, believe it or not, my written word is much better than my spoken one. So I did. I submitted an article about how it was a major goal for me to be able to successfully grow okra, which I had finally done. I had finally conquered that beast, and they accepted it. And so the way that works is whenever you submit an article and they accept it, they will pay you via a gift card to their store. So I now have 4 articles published through them. And so I was able to purchase, right now I have 1 more raised bed out there that I am still setting up, getting ready. I have solar lights that I have added to all 3 of the beds, and then I got a coffee mug, and then I got an extension panel kit for the next raised bed that I'm going to be purchasing that will go into the tomato patch as well. And then I believe I may have enough, hopefully, to be able to get the shorter raised bed to go where the tool shed was. So that means that I need to write more articles so that I can complete my raised bed goals. And then, you know, if I'm able to continue to get articles approved by them and published by them, then I can slowly convert everything, every fabric grow bag out there into raised beds, which would be awesome. Will it happen in 2024? I don't know, but the goal is to add more. I don't have a definitive number, but more. So number 6, this goal is to fix the greenhouse. I do have a greenhouse out there. We built it whenever we lived at our other at the other place, and then whenever we moved, we took it down and then we brought it here. My backyard here has a pretty steep incline like this off of the patio, and then it kind of levels out like that just before you get to the fence. And so we have to follow these rules for the HOA agreement, which I hate, but it has to be like a certain distance away from the fence. So I put it that distance, and then I gave just a little bit more cushion so that the lawnmower could fit through there, because just following their distance, it didn't quite fit. So it's a bit away from the fence, so it kind of starts to bump into that slope. And so whenever I was trying to get the base of the greenhouse in, I dug a trench into that slope to be able to set the wall into, and I was kind of leveling it out, but I didn't dig the trench straight enough. It kind of like cuts this way. So whenever this front wall went to be attached, it's not squared up. So I needed, obviously Jake's going to have to help me because I'm not strong enough to hold an entire roof by myself. But Jake and I need to take it apart. I had drilled in or sledgehammered in rebar to anchor it. So we need to like crowbar the walls off of the rebar and then pull the rebar back out of the ground. I need to straighten out that trench that I dug and then finish leveling out the ground, and then put the wall in, make sure that it's completely square, and then build it back up. So that's kind of a big project. I don't know when we're going to get to it. I think I need to actually borrow my nephew from my sister to help because he's tall and strong. But that is on the 2024 goal list. Once that is fixed, then I can seal it up and be able to, you know, protect plants from the weather, start seeds, all of those things that I needed the greenhouse for that I can't currently use it for because it is not weatherproof. So that's a big one. It's going to be a little bit time consuming, but it will be worth it whenever it's done. I had some plants that I opted to not grow again because I didn't have like a way outside to protect them. I had to carry them through the house into the garage, and it was kind of a big, and then we couldn't get through the garage. So if I could have the greenhouse back, then I could try to grow those plants again, or not those because they died, but you know, plants like them again, some tropical hibiscus and things like that. That would be super. So the last one, the last goal is to grow more. I mean, it's that simple, grow more. I want to grow more food. I want to grow more beautiful things. I am going to be starting some perennial flowers this year, some Rudbeckia, Giardia, Echinacea, some things that will come back year after year, so that I don't have to continuously plant things all the time, even though I love planting things all the time. These will come back year after year, and they'll grow bigger and more beautiful as the time goes on and the longer that they're there. So more food, more beautiful things, and then the last thing that I want to grow more of is joy, because one thing that the garden does do is bring me joy. So by having the more food and the more beautiful things, in theory, I will automatically get the joy by default. But that's it. It's 7 goals for gardening for 2024. Stay organized is probably the most important because it's going to trickle down to the other 6. But I am hoping and planning and gearing up for a successful 2024 garden year. We may have to add pest management as a goal to this, depending on what comes out in the spring. We'll see. But other than that, just these 7 simple goals. Each of them has a little bit of importance for me, or a lot of bit of importance for me. If you liked this video and you want to see more about my 2024 gardening journey, please feel free to like and subscribe and do all of the YouTubey things. It really helps me out. That is another goal of mine, not for gardening, but overall to reach 1,000 subscribers. So every little bit helps. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay warm, stay dry, and find a way to get those hands dirty. Bye.